Mark, you went through a lot of technologies, but if I were operating a warehouse, I would probably be asking myself, where do I even start to address these disruptors?
Yeah, there are a lot of technologies to consider, and that's really one of the reasons we put together our warehouse maturity model. And first and foremost, Zebra is really focused on worker and workflow optimization, and we work within the automation. We help optimize and interact heavily with the automation. We help optimize and interact heavily with the warehouse management system, but our focus is really on the worker and workflow optimization. As you look at the 5 phases of the maturity model, and there are 5, what you see are that the first 2 are based on this idea of transactional mobility. And that means that the system of record, in this case, the WMS or warehouse management system, is really interacting with the workers sporadically at different points in the process with a scan or a key press or something like that. And so it's getting these glimpses of reality. As we move over to the right, we see sensor-driven systems, and these systems provide constant visibility to the physical processes, and it's truly real time. So these are always on, they're always monitoring the work, they're always confirming it.
All right, Mark, I have to stop you there because you mentioned real-time data. Isn't that something that manufacturers are already operating on?
Well, that's a great point, and we do have to think differently about real time because for many years, if I scan something and the WMS responded in less than a second, we consider that to be a real-time WMS. But the reality is, is it really real time? Because it may ask me to do something next that would take 5, 10, or even 15 minutes. Let's say I'm doing a put away in a remote location in the warehouse. And during that time, it has no visibility as to what's going on. So did I take the optimum path? Was I impeded by congestion? Was there a safety concern? No information about that whatsoever. So what we want to be able to do is leverage systems that can, through constant visibility, provide a better operational result.
All right, that makes sense. So can we go through the model? Take us through each one of these phases, Mark.
Sure. Let's look at phase 1. So within the paradigm, let's say, of transactional mobility in phase 1, this is typically for a smaller or less complex operation, and the priority is really getting control of the operations. So that's basically directing and confirming each material move through the facility with really a desire to minimize technical complexity and systems complexity. Moving on to phase 2, we're still in that paradigm of transactional mobility, but here we have a more complex operation. It might be multiple facilities or high volume, what have you. And the priority here is really to dial in and look at each specific workflow and optimize the use of technology for that particular use case within the warehouse, and they'll get a good return on that. And very often that means leveraging technology and solutions that may be wearable, but it's with an eye towards improving ergonomics.
And why is reevaluation of ergonomics so important in this?
Sure. So ergonomics is about matching the technology to the physical work that needs to be done. And by doing that, we're going to minimize the amount of effort required by the worker. We're going to enable them to focus more on getting the job done and less on the technology. They're going to be more productive. They're going to be more accurate, and they're going to be far less likely to encounter a repetitive stress injury over time. So solutions like voice, wearable display, these are going to deliver better results. So, getting back to the model, as moving on to phase 3, this is where we start to introduce true real-time technology, sensor-based systems that are looking at the physical workflow. But in phase 3, we're targeting that to a limited and specific area or problem within the warehouse. In phase 4, we're going to take that same idea, but expand it over the entire facility or a large portion of it, maybe such as all the inbound processing or all of the outbound processing. And then phase 5, again, we build on that constant visibility with artificial intelligence and machine learning to build solutions that are truly adaptive and predictive for the operation.
All right, now we have the full picture, but how do Zebra products and solutions fit into this phase?
In phase 1, we typically see the use of handheld mobile computers, handheld scanners, fixed printers. And again, the customers, they prefer IT consistency and simplicity over a workflow-specific solution. When we get to phase 2, we're much more likely to see wearable technology of all types. We might see fulfillment edge be deployed to create more productive workflows. A lot of times printing will be mobilized to the point of activity. That's going to prevent errors and provide a productivity boost. We might see Workforce Connect be deployed so that workers can stay in contact with their peers and with their managers. As we go to phase 3, we see solutions like Smart Pack Trailer or an RFID portal, or perhaps using Bluetooth Low Energy to create a location-aware solution in a specific area to solve a specific problem. In phase 4, this is where we see MotionWorks Warehouse come into play. And we might mobilize the entire receiving function or the entire shipping function under MotionWorks Warehouse. And we're relying there on technology like WearNet or ultra wideband, or with the ATR 7000, we can actually leverage passive RFID technology for that wide area constant visibility. In phase 5, this is where you would begin to leverage Zebra Data Services. We want to get that edge data up to the cloud so that applications can leverage it and make increasingly complex decisions automatically.
Where are you seeing most of the warehouses start today?
Well, the vast majority of the market today really lives in phase 1 and phase 2. Most of them are looking beyond that. They understand what this technology holds for them in terms of promise and capabilities and doing things in a fundamentally different way. In fact, when we did our recent warehouse vision survey, we spoke to over 1,000 customers. And a key question, we asked them, what are the key performance indicators that are important to you to accomplish your goals in the warehouse? And we asked them, to answer that question for today, as well as for the future, 5 years out. And what we found is that the current operations, which are phase 1, phase 2, the focus is really on individual worker productivity and the team productivity. So it's human-centric, transactional mobility focused. But as they look out to the future, to 2024, clearly the shift is over to the right. It's to asset utilization, it's to operating with data-driven performance, and to create predictive and adaptive solutions based on this technology. So clearly our customers are telling us that this is where they're headed.